Hey, I wanted to introduce you to someone that I know here who is a top-notch, nationally known Second Amendment attorney, and someone who is a friend of ours and has done a couple things. And one of them is written this book called Infringed. It is an easy read, it's not that thick, and it covers, in layman's terms, all of the things, or most of the things, that you, as a gun owner and a Second Amendment supporter, should know. And it covers things like what the law is, certain concepts that people talk about a lot, and she gives it the kind of coverage that makes it easy to understand what our rights are, why our rights are, and some thoughts about what you can do as well. It's a well-written book. But on top of that, she brings a cross-section of personal experience to the subject. I mean, she used to be a prosecutor, and brings that kind of understanding to the defense of gun owners. Now I'm going to load a video that she just did to introduce you all to her, and it's called Prosecutorial Discretion, and what that means, and that's when no reasonable prosecutor should file against a gun owner. It's about 8 minutes long, but it gives you a sense of how she thinks. Her name is Alexandria Kincaid. Alexandria Kincaid, and she practices out here, totally supports the Second Amendment and gun owners, has a service that you can subscribe to give you legal coverage and guidance as well. Does things like gun trusts, a lot of things that you might want to give some thought to. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that video of hers. In the meantime, go take a look. There is an ebook version, but you can find this out on the internet, Infringed. Alexandria has a YouTube channel, and there's a lot of good information out there, and she also has a website that you would get linked to. So go check her out, check out the information, listen to the video I'm about to show you, and I'll come back after that's done.
Hi, I'm Alex Kincaid, and today on the Gun Law Podcast, we're talking about that phrase, prosecutorial discretion. Why is that relevant for gun owners? Because the prosecutor, or the attorney general, if it's a federal crime, is the person who could exercise it to not go after American gun owners for technical law violations when they didn't even know a law existed. And I'm going to give you some examples of correct uses of prosecutorial discretion and incorrect uses of prosecutorial discretion. I don't think a lot of people realize just how much power a prosecutor has. Prosecutors are the ones who get the investigative report from law enforcement ordinarily. They review it, they make a decision on whether or not there is sufficient evidence and the person should be prosecuted to go forward with the case. So just because there's a technical violation of the law doesn't mean a prosecutor, even if there's plenty of evidence to prove the crime occurred, it doesn't mean the prosecutor actually files the charge, or even if the prosecutor is going to present the case to a grand jury. What the prosecutor is trying to determine is whether the criminal is worth going after. Are we protecting society? Are we protecting some individual? Are we enforcing the laws that are going to prevent this kind of criminal conduct in the future if in fact people are charged with the criminal activity? There's a lot that goes into making that determination. So when might a prosecutor use prosecutorial discretion? Let me give you an example from back in the day when I was prosecuting. I watched as a district attorney charged a physician with a firearms related crime because the physician had forgotten that his concealed weapons permit had expired. And it was only like a couple weeks expired, but technically, because his license expired and he had a concealed firearm on his person in a car, he was breaking the law. And the law was a misdemeanor. However, if you break the law and you're convicted of a misdemeanor, you can lose your gun rights during the time that you're on probation. And that's exactly what this prosecutor wanted to do. Why? Because he hated guns. He didn't think people should have guns. And so every opportunity that he had to charge someone with a crime and secure a conviction and remove a gun from some person, he was going to take it. And that's what he did with this doctor. No criminal history on the part of the doctor, a kind person who drove many, many miles to help out a rural community. And the district attorney went after him for a 2-week expired license. When I became DA, I had a rule. I exercised prosecutorial discretion in those circumstances. If someone was a law-abiding American citizen and they had an expired CCW permit, I told them to go down to the sheriff's office and renew their permit. And when they did, they showed it to my office and we didn't file the charges. It's like a fix-it ticket. These people had no intention of committing any kind of a crime. Now, recently in the news, we've heard that Hillary Clinton, as an example, is not going to be charged with crimes that she's clearly, according to most prosecutors, guilty of. But she's not going to be charged because no reasonable prosecutor, supposedly, would file those charges. And you've heard now in the media, many, many prosecutors disagree with that statement. Her case is not a case where prosecutorial discretion would be exercised to show leniency. Why? Because any reasonable prosecutor would look at that case and they would say, this is a case that has serious implications for society, for the public, for the United States of America. This is a situation where someone committed crimes that put the security of our country at risk, and we have a duty to prosecute her, to not treat her differently from any other American, and to make sure that it never happens again. So when you hear the phrase prosecutorial discretion, just remember, there are situations where it might be appropriate, and there are situations where it is inappropriate. A prosecutor has an incredible amount of authority, laced with an extravagant amount of discretion. And when you elect your state prosecutors, your state attorney generals, you have the ability to do that. You have to be very careful and you have to pay attention, because while those may not seem as important as the role of being the leader of our country, those people who secure those positions may be making decisions about your life, your liberty, and your property, because they hold the power to prosecute or not prosecute. And most of the time, that power is unreviewable. What they say goes. I'm Alex Kincaid, and thank you for watching the Gun Law Podcast. I hope these podcasts help you understand more about how our legal system works and about our nonsensical gun control system. Thank you.
This is an important message about your liberty.
So the notion that gun laws don't work, it's not borne out by the evidence.
We need universal background checks. We know that they will work. We need to...
Politicians continue to call for more gun control. Yet so many laws already exist, the American gun owner is often left confused about the legality of their own common everyday behaviors. Attorney and former prosecutor Alex Kincaid knows that too many responsible gun owners violate laws that they don't know even exist. And her goal is to stop that. Now get Kincaid's new book, Infringed. Larry Pratt of Gun Owners of America says that Infringed should be on the shelf of every American gun owner. Infringed debuts November 25th, but pre-order today and receive an autographed hard copy edition at $5 off. Visit alexkincaidlaw.com now. That's alexkincaidlaw.com. Get Infringed. Get it today. alexkincaidlaw.com.
So, I hope you enjoyed that little segment that Alexandria did. Hope you're going to go out now and try to find her book. And check down below, I'll give you some links just to help you out. And in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching. Carry on.